Hello everyone, welcome back to the Amber Serpent. My name is Gulveg. So today is June 20th, and we are in halfway through our lunar cycle. Last week was the new moon, so if you haven't caught last week's Rune Reading Wednesday, you might want to take a look at it because it is what is setting the course from last week until the next full moon coming up soon. So let's take a look and see what this week has in store for us, shall we? All right. So, as always, the intention, or not as always, but as is typical, we will set the intention of what is it that we need to know most for this next week going forward that would serve our best and highest good. All right. So let's keep that intention in our mind. We'll blow that intention into the runes. All right, we got rune number 1. Number 2, and number 3. All right, so we have a very interesting setup here. We have Tyr's rune, Tiwaz, we have Hagalas, and we have Fehu. So if there is a specific one that draws your attention the most, or you intuitively feel lights up for you is a stronger energy, then just file that into the back of your mind, because that might be a part of the reading that is specifically most powerful for you for this week. So we have Tiwaz, Tyr's rune, next to Hagalas. So when with Hagalas, well, Hagalas is one of those runes that definitely has a powerful effect on the runes that are next to it. So it's very interesting that it is in the second. It's the second rune right in the middle of these two. So what we have going forward is, it's interesting because last week was about new beginnings, right? And it's one of the most powerful manifestation runes. And going forward into this week, to know about what Tyr's rune is, Tiwaz, we have to understand a little bit about the myth. And I'm not going to go into the whole mythology on Tiwaz or on Tyr's rune. Maybe that will be a separate video. But for Tyr was the god who had to give up one of his hands for the greater good in order to stop a force, a chaotic force that was destroying and causing havoc for both mankind and the gods. So in this particular case, with it being next to Hagalas, I'm being drawn to the aspect of Tyr of self-sacrifice for the greater good. So right here we are being asked to let go. As we transition and create new beginnings, oftentimes we are asked to let go, to leave the past behind. Are there patterns, are there habits, are there beliefs that just don't really serve us anymore? And we're being asked here to let go of those last vestiges. And next to Hagalas, Hagalas is the chaotic force that has the seeds of change and of new beginnings. So even though it often shows up as a chaotic energy, what it has in its very heart of it is the seeds of change, the seeds of creation, the seeds of manifestation. It's said that in Hagalas, all the other runes come from Hagalas. And that is also depicted in many of the stories. You know, at first there was chaos and somehow order came from all of it. So Hagalas is the hailstone. And from the hailstone, it drops down in the late spring or even in the winter. And in its crystalline structure, it is said that it had the power to germinate all the seeds that were underneath the soil for that new growth to come. So this next week coming forward, there might be some challenging decisions that we might have to make. We may be faced with what it is that needs to be let go, and we may be faced with some certain sacrifices that have to be taken in order for us to move forward. But you know, the law of the land is that nothing is ever gotten for free. Like, there's always an exchange of some sort. And so that's what we see here, is that we're going to be making the decision as to, is what it is that we are being asked to let go of, or is the exchange for what it is that we really want, is that going to be worth it? And we have the freedom or the free will to make the decision as to whether or not what it is the universe is saying that is going to be required for new beginnings and for manifestation, if it's really truly worth it, if that exchange is truly worth giving so that we can move forward. However, so all of this might be kind of like wah, 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 but we now have Fehu at the other end of it. So the way that I see it here, the way that it is laid out, is if we are courageous enough to allow ourselves to let go and to work through some of the challenges that might be coming up in the next week, and make some of those tough calls for ourselves, then we will be rewarded with all the good things. Fehu is about luck, it's about prosperity and wealth. So there's a light at the end of the tunnel. And all of this is really just about allowing that energy to condense. So when we start new beginnings and new things, it always starts off typically with this feeling of not exactly sure how that new beginning is going to transpire. And so there is an element of chaos in that new beginning. But what we see is, like, towards the end of the week, going into next week, is that we get to move through that chaotic kind of pattern that is just a natural part of creation, and make sense of it by making these decisions of what stays and what goes, and really tapping into what truly fulfills us, and what it is that we are willing to negotiate. So thank you so much for joining me here at the Amber Serpent. I look forward to seeing you here next Wednesday. And until then, have a wonderful rest of your week. Thanks. Bye-bye.